Hello again, and welcome to another video tutorial from screencastworld.com. In this lesson I'll be showing you how to install the recently released version 1.4 of Magento Commerce. I'll be using the full distribution package available from the Magento Commerce website. For the purposes of this demonstration, I've configured an Apache virtual host on my local development server for this fake company called SCW Computer Systems. Now before we begin, you must have already created a MySQL database and database user, as these details are required by the Magento installation wizard. I showed you in a previous screencast 4 different methods for creating the database and database user, so if you missed them, hop on over to screencastworld.com and look for the MySQL post under the screencast section. Now I'm going to continue from where those screencasts left off. So just to remind you, I've already logged into my PHP MyAdmin on my local production server, and on the left hand side we can see the database that we created previously. If I select this database and go over to privileges, we can see our database user that we'll be using for the Magento installation wizard, and we can see that it's accessible only from the local host. It only has access to our database, and it has only a subset of privileges. And these are all required to ensure that your Magento installation is as secure as possible. Now while I was creating the database and database user, I made a note of the details so it makes it easier to copy and paste them straight into the wizard. Okay, so let's crack on. If I flip back to my browser, I've already navigated to the Magento Commerce homepage, and under the download menu item we have download Magento. So if I click on that, now this brings us to a registration page because I'm not logged in at the moment. If you're not already a registered member of the Magento site, I encourage you to join, especially if you're a store owner or somebody looking to develop for the Magento platform. As we can see here, the benefits really are that it allows you to post questions on the forum and get help from other community members. You can edit wiki articles, and you can report bugs and help make Magento as great as possible. Now registration is completely free and only takes a few moments. You just need to complete this form, enter the captcha here, tick on the I agree to the terms of service after you've read them, and hit the registration button down here. If you're already a member or just don't want to register at this time, then you have the opportunity of skipping the registration page and hitting the no thanks, just take me to the download page link. So as I'm already a member, I'm going to hit this link here. This brings us to the download page proper, and if I scroll down we can see we have a couple of options, so I'll just walk you through these quickly. The first option is for the downloader. The downloader is a small utility that you upload to your website, and it walks you through the wizard and automatically downloads the necessary files directly from the Magento servers onto your web server. So as we can see here, the version is listed as 1.3.2.1. This is the version of the downloader utility itself, not the version of Magento that you'll be installing. As we can see here, the downloader utility will always install the latest stable version of Magento, which at the time of recording is 1.4.0.1. So next we have the full release. This is the full release of version 1.4.0.1. Now it's exactly the same as what you'll end up with if you were to use the downloader option above. The only difference being that you'll download the full distribution, upload that to your web server, and just walk through the installation wizard, essentially bypassing the download phase of the installation wizard. Now I personally prefer this package over the downloader, but it honestly doesn't matter which option you choose. I'll record another screencast showing you how to install Magento using the downloader bundle. So next in the list we have the sample data. If you're going to be installing Magento on your production web server or on a test and development server, then you don't really need this. This bundle is essentially the database contents, pictures, descriptions, and everything else from the online demo version of the product. If you're wanting to play around with Magento to become more familiar with it, then this bundle may be useful to you, as it will save you having to create a bunch of products before you can begin. Now the data is quite old. As we can see here, the data was taken from version 1.2 of Magento, and it requires that you import the SQL into your MySQL database before you install Magento. Now the reason you do this is because the database schema is old. And when we go through the installation process, either using the full distribution or the downloader, the MySQL schema is updated to the latest version. Now if you install Magento and then try to install this sample data, you'll end up breaking your Magento installation. This is because some tables have been deprecated or removed and the layout of other tables has been changed. So I'll show you how to install this sample data prior to installing Magento in a different screencast. Now Magento provides a database repair toolkit which goes away and confirms that the schema of the database that you have installed is valid. It looks like this utility is quite old, hasn't been updated in a while. I don't know whether it's actually been updated for version 1.4 of Magento yet. But remember, it's always good practice to take regular backups of your database. Now finally we have the Magento and Zen Unified Server installation bundle. As we can see here, this is quite a large download at 104 meg. Now this distribution includes both the community versions of Zen Server and Magento, and I'll discuss how to go about installing this in a different screencast. Now as the focus of this particular lesson is using the full release, I'm going to go back up here to the full release section, and from the format options I'm going to select the tar.gz. Now as we can see here, we've got three options: zip, tar.gz and tar.bzip2. It's entirely up to you which option you choose. They're all exactly the same, the only difference being the way that they've been bundled. So just choose the distribution that you're most comfortable using. Now I'm just going to select the tar.gz bundle and hit the download. I'm going to save this to my local file system. And this may take a moment or two depending on the speed of your connection. So while this happens, you'll note that you've been taken to the How to Get Started page. This page has a list of really useful links, so I'll let you browse them at your own leisure. But as you can see here, you have resources for installation. We can look again at the system requirements, which I covered in a different screencast. We have links to the designer's guide, the user guide, screencasts that Magento have created, and recommended wiki articles. So okay, my download is finished now, so I'm just going to close that window and hop on over to my terminal window. I'm just going to navigate to my root directory for my SCW Computer Systems website. As you can see here, I've just got a quick index.php, which gives me this welcome to SCW Computer Systems default page. Nothing special there.